If you couldn't tell, Apple's being a little weird. And now we know why. Want daily tech news in a way that doesn't suck? Of course you do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Front Page Tech, of course, show that gives you all latest tech news from one geek that is me to another that is you. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a great week. We got a bit of an exclusive for you today. If you've been paying attention, Apple's been a little freaking weird when it comes to how they've been releasing their products lately. Sort of loose, sort of quiet, sort of sneaky. It makes sense now. Thanks to our source, we have some inside information to tell you about how the behind the scenes of this stuff is sort of working and Apple's plan with this moving forward. Okay, consider this like a Front Page Tech special report. Okay, so if you watched yesterday's episode of FPT, you saw that we talked about the Motorola Razr because Motorola had their event. So we focused that entire episode on the new Razr phone and did not talk about how Apple just snuck up a MacBook Pro 16-inch on us. Well, they didn't really sneak it up, per se. We had already been hearing rumblings of a new MacBook Pro 16-inch. We knew it was coming. Now it's official. So at this point, you probably know everything that you want to know about the new MacBook Pro, so I'm not gonna list off a bunch of specs or whatever. I just wanna more or less talk to you about what Apple is actually doing here with these product releases and why they're releasing them this way and what we can expect from them in the future. We were all kind of expecting some sort of October event from Apple. I mean, it was covered everywhere. YouTubers were talking about it. Tech blogs were talking about it, but we didn't get one. Instead, we just got a sneaky surprise release for the AirPods Pro, and then more recently, the 16-inch MacBook Pro. You know, stuff that would normally be announced during some sort of event, but we just didn't get one. Apple did this same thing back in March as well. That's how we got the second generation AirPods. I mean, you've already heard me talk about how Apple is taking a hard left turn into focusing more on services, software, subscription-based stuff, more than just a heavy focus on hardware. The hardware at this point is really just a vehicle to let them get you to spend more money, buy into their subscription stuff, pay into their services. What's interesting here, though, is that Apple is becoming way more loose with this sort of stuff. We're getting more detailed leaks before products drop, just randomly in the week. We're getting word of private press briefings right before product launch, and then boom, an hour or two later, that same day, we get the product. They've also been way more open in terms of giving these products to the media or YouTube personalities to drop videos on launch days. And if I had to guess, I'd say that's probably why we're starting to see more leaks more often towards product releases. Apple's just looser with this stuff right now. And because of this strategy, literally directly because of it, we now have an inside source from here within America telling us that this is gonna be a thing. This is an experiment that Apple is trying, and it's actually for a good reason. It makes a lot of sense. Our source says that this is an experiment for Apple, and it's actually going fairly well so far. The plan is to have more surprising, quiet product releases during random days of the week without an event in hopes for a more organic launch. Relying way more on just word of mouth, people sharing shit on social media, along with media sites covering all the new stuff, and of course, YouTubers releasing videos on the same day. And if you think about it, all of that stuff that I just mentioned happens anyway. After a typical Apple event, a press event, all of that stuff happens regardless. And because all of that happens anyway, I'm being told that Apple is leaning way into this, just the more natural progression of internet trends, in hopes that product launches are just as successful without these big press events. I mean, I get it. At first, it's sort of weird because it's not typically what we expect from Apple. We usually expect some big spectacle. But it is more organic this way. It makes sense. And I mean, obviously, I think this goes without saying, Apple still plans on holding press events for major product releases, of course, like the iPhone, and even more events solely dedicated for their services, subscription-based stuff. But for simple products that don't need much of an explanation from Apple themselves at a press event, I'm being told that we just can expect to see more of this, more loose, sneaky launches of products rather than dedicated events. And if I'm being honest, I personally am guilty for saying things after an Apple event actually happens and we get a bunch of products launched, I've been guilty of saying we didn't need an event, this could have just been a blog post. Well, Now kinda is. Now, here's the really important part. According to our source, which, by the way, is the same source that was correct about the launching of AirPods Pro, Apple is actually planning to reevaluate all of this next year. They want to see if putting on as many press events throughout the year is worth it or necessary for smaller product launches. If these quote-unquote surprise releases or looser releases, these more organic launches, if they worked and got close to matching the launch numbers of a typical Apple event, then yeah, we can absolutely expect to see less events for this stuff and more silent product releases and website updates. However, if the numbers don't match up, if the sales do not equal what Apple is used to doing after a big launch event, then you can bet your sweet happy ass that we are going right back to having Apple events for every product release. Either way, this is a very interesting Apple that we're looking at right now. One that's more open and sort of loose with this stuff. One that is more in touch with the current landscape of the tech community. Listen, I gotta be honest, I'm sort of all about this. I like them doing this and experimenting with this. For the simple, smaller product releases, just fucking give it to us. Just release it. We'll take care of the rest. Let the internet organically take care of the rest. I'm curious what you guys think. Are you into this? Are you not? Do you want to go back to the just regular Apple events? Or do you want to see more products launched this way, sort of more organically? Let us know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on Moon Day.